Got a lot of baseball to talk about tonight. All right, so I did a lot of work on the MLB algorithm and made a bunch of updates. So let's talk about that. We're going to talk about results from Friday the 7th, and we're also going to talk about projections for April 8th, which we have in here as well. And we'll test some different combination strings with that. So interesting. These are not wins yet. There we go. This is the order that it has. It's right, 20 runs for Tampa Bay against Oakland on Saturday. We'll see if that happens. Let's talk about results from Friday first, because I made a bunch of changes in how we test all the combination strings, and I renumbered them and haven't relabeled them. But one of them was a clear winner today. It was the only one that had 10 games. So this was 4-8 winner. We'll remember that. Then some of the other ones, which are heavily related to pitcher whip and pitcher ERA, which also both won 9 games. So there was another 20 of these combinations, which were probably pretty heavy on those categories. And also BAPIP was pretty good today as well. So if we were to craft our own combination that we would want to test, we go down to one of the worst ones, like this one. And we would try to like emulate something where we do a good deal of whip. Yeah, let's call it 0.3 whip, 0.3 ERA. We'll give the lineup factor the same 15%. We won't do much with bullpen ERA. We'll do 0.25 with BAPIP, and we won't do much with average runs for, average runs allowed. And we'll take a look at how this new combo number 158 would have done by clicking here and typing 158 here, and then looking at our browse pivot sheet to see what the results would have looked like. You can see it's a 7-7 day. This one is, and it chops stuff a little bit up. So maybe it's not perfect, but it's kind of one of the ways you can test working with variables that did good today, which were whip and ERA. Only 17% ERA on 158. Let me check that. Oh, it's 148. Sorry, 148. Yeah, I thought I did a different distribution. 148. Now let's refresh our browse pivot sheet to look at what combo number 148 does. 6 and 8, it's worse. So you should just use what it ends up spitting out as what the best combination was, which is at the top for today. So this is number 488, and that's the one we're going to put in there. I have both Friday and Saturday showing on this matchup sheet. So I've combined the 2 days so that we can look at both. And I've done some pitcher stat adjustments because Shintaro Fujinami, who has an ERA of 30 from his first game this year, is the reason why this game is so skewed in score. Being like, this guy got hit so hard, and Tampa Bay is like one of the best teams in the league, I think. So it's supposed to be a blowout. We'll see what happens there. The line is pretty bad at -265. One of the worst lines I've seen. I shouldn't say that. Pretty bad line. Also, we went with 2023 pitching stats for Kodai Senga and Johnny Brito. Okay. So what does all this mean? It means that looking at the combinations, something that was like this did the best on Friday on a tougher day. So we're going to try it today, and we're also going to glance at these other ones as well. And when we start building a model of an average of a bunch of these combinations, we're going to use ones like this. So we could say 4-8 second best was all of these ones. And I'm going to try not to renumber to screw them up, but we'll see then how these do on Saturday, for example, because they're going to have this label right here when we're sorting by how many wins the day has. All right. So this 488, just to do one final check on the 488. It goes 8 and 6, but it hits a bunch of underdogs. It hits Baltimore, Toronto, Seattle. And so that's why it's profitable for the day. It wasn't what I sent out in the email today. I kind of actually lost that combination. I'd have to go back and relook. I think the combination we had probably went 7-7 or 6 and 8. I don't think it did this good, but I don't totally remember. And also it didn't have confirmed lineups in it. So anyway, that was Friday. We'll see how this combination does for Saturday. That's the whole point. And to see how it does for Saturday is this, which does have some underdogs in Detroit, Texas, and Cincinnati. as 3 underdogs it thinks can win. And the rest are favorites, which does have Tampa Bay at the top, putting up a bunch of runs. So, I mean, that's kind of the process now. I ran the macro to get all the results to find these combinations and how many they won. We can start working with this and expanding it out to see all these combinations in bulk, all these ones that won 9 and look through the distributions of the percentages, like what was valuable there. Or we can just glance at the combination strings and look at them by color. And, where we see this yellowish green, that means this was a relevant factor. So all 3 of these were pretty good. And BABIP was pretty solid up here as well. You can see the reds are the other ones that weren't good. Bullpen ERA, average runs allowed. So we'll start to remember what's doing good every day because it will filter to the top and it will be labeled. So we'll be able to sort this by label as well as wins to see what we've been choosing and what has been winning historically. And I know that ERA of the starting pitcher, that seems to be the best one, along with WHIP. They're both actually pretty relevant. They're probably a little bit redundant, but they probably both add something unique. And so you can see that ERA is one that really wants to be on here a lot and very rarely pops up in red, especially with the winning ones. See how it's never red? Like you had to have a good ERA. And in one case where you overestimate ERA a lot, you get this up to 8 and otherwise one that has no BABIP at all. So it's one of those things where you're going to start, as for Friday, I'm saying, all right, I care about these 3 stats and lineup factor. You always have to care about, that one needs to be relevant. I almost want to always have this thing be at least 15% or something. You've got to have it in there. We know it's relevant because it's related to the lineups that are playing that day. And that's absolutely relevant. So anyway, there's a lot going on here, but these are the kind of looks it's going to give you, and it's going to point you to these 3 underdogs that might pull something off. I think you got to start of a new series here with Detroit and Boston. But this is probably going to be my last series here that starts up this next couple days because I'm going to stop on the 10th. I think we're going to get profitable tomorrow. I'm sending this out to those who subscribe, and I'm saying tomorrow, go with this one in terms of order. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the best for projected scores, but because it's really heavy on pitching stats. But anyway, this is what it's doing. It's showing you your projected scores and your margins and your pick ranks. So like the number 1 pick of both days, Friday and Saturday, is Tampa Bay to crush it. So, there you go. All right. Good luck, everybody. Purchase a copy of this if you want it. You've got a few more days to get a current version, then I'm going to stop updating them and just sell a legacy version that you're going to have to update yourself. So if you want to get in on this in the next few days while I'm still sending emails, and go follow the link, purchase a copy. All right. Good luck, everybody. Your picks be winning.